never grow old, Michael. And you'll never die. Be one of us.
Notice anything unusual about Santa Carla yet?
It's a pretty cool place. If you're a Martian.
Or a vampire.
Dad.
You know where Hudson's Bluff is? I can't beat your bike. You just have to try and keep up. How far are you willing to go, Michael? Yes, first. How are those maggots? Drink some of this, Michael.
Don't. It's blood.
Michael, Michael, Michael. Now you know what we are. Now you know what you are.
Help me! Stay back! Stay back! Help me! My own brother, a vampire. You wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
You don't want to miss this.
You smell like garlic.
Welcome to Real Dead.
Hey everyone, this is Mike.
Hey, and this is Josh.
And we are Real Dead.
Yes, we are. And tonight we are talking about a favorite of mine from my childhood. I've watched this movie countless times. I couldn't even tell you. I've watched it on TV. I watched it on VHS. I've watched it on DVD. I've watched it on Blu-ray. I mean, I've watched it like on any ways possible besides like Laserdisc. I've watched it, or Betamax. I don't know if they still had that in '87 or not, but yeah, I've watched it. And it's a shame because I wasn't old enough really to see it in the theater. Mike, I think you have a different story though.
So yeah, my different story is I started in the movie theater when I was 16 years old. So it was 1987. I was born in 71. And I remember this movie being at the movie theater when I started. So it was,
do you think it was a pretty popular, it was a pretty popular movie?
And that look that they had in this movie was so 80s.
Yeah, but they look cool, man. I mean, 87, like this was like the height of 80s look. Like 87, 88 was like the height. Like it wasn't going to get any bigger 80s look than that year.
Well, the vampires had the rocker look, and then like Corey Haim had the like the pop disco culture type, not disco, but the pop look. So it was kind of a mix of both of those in that movie.
He looked like Duran Duran.
Duran Duran could be the vampires in this movie.
But no, I thought I love this movie. It came out actually July 31st, 1987. So a summer movie, and we're pretty close to that. 36 years ago it was released, Mike. That's crazy. But yeah, it's called The Lost Boys. I love that name because it's kind of, the whole story is a play on Peter Pan, the Peter Pan story. That's why they call it The Lost Boys. And yeah, I think it's great. What is the synopsis there? Oh, you got the Rotten Tomatoes.
Sorry about that. I got the Rotten Tomatoes score, 76 tomato meter, which is kind of low in my opinion. 85 audience score, which has got a really solid audience score.
Yeah, there's some things I love about this, Mike. An hour and 37 minutes. Love it.
Perfect horror movie is an hour and 90 minutes. I mean, 90 minutes total. This is right there in the wheelhouse. Perfect.
Yes, this is beautiful. Also, I see something else I love. Rated R, Mike. Rated R horror. I love it. So
yeah.
So yeah, 76, a little low. I can see probably some critics wouldn't like it just because that's really stylized and whatever. But I don't think the story's that simple. I mean, it's kind of a simple story, but I think it's a good simple story. They tell everything they need to tell in the hour and 37 minutes. You don't have any more questions. You're like, hey, man, this is beautiful. You know, good beginning, built up, good middle. Not a boring middle.
Look at the poster right here.
And a really cool end. And yeah, the poster looks awesome.
I mean, you got Kiefer Sutherland right there with the blonde hair spiked up with the mullet, and it's like perfect 80s right there. I mean,
yeah,
the poster looks cool.
Yeah, the director, Joel Schumacher, he said this was one of his proudest moments to be able to put this young cast together, because a lot of these people went on to do really good stuff.
Yeah,
and he said this was a really cool thing to get a lot of these stars. I mean, you had people that weren't on. I don't know if they were on the poster. I couldn't really see, but you had Corey Feldman. I mean, he was really popular at this time. Corey Haim was super popular. They were the two Coreys. They were really popular. And you had actually one of the vampires. I think his name is Alex Winter. He went on to play, what was it, Bill and Ted, and he went on to be director and all this stuff. He went on to do things behind the camera. But yeah, I mean, he was kind of like a bit player, but he went on to be in bigger things. But yeah, so what's the synopsis here, Mike?
All right, it says a mother and her two sons moved to a small coast town in California. The town is plagued by bikers and some mysterious deaths. The younger boy makes friends with two other boys who claim to be vampire hunters, while the older boy is drawn into the gang of bikers by a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
The older boy starts sleeping days and staying out all night, while the younger boy starts getting into trouble because of his friend's obsession. So, yeah.
That's a good synopsis. I like this. This has a good, like I said, there's the mother, which I think she's a good actress. She actually just won some kind of award right before this, and they didn't think that actress was going to take the role, but she did, and they were really surprised that she actually accepted the role. And the guy that plays Michael, God, I can't remember his name, but he actually denied this role like 4 or 5 times before accepting it. Wow. But yeah, of course, Sam is played by Corey Haim, who's like an 80s, superstar at this point. I mean, he was building up.
Had Kiefer Sutherland done anything big before this?
He was in a couple of movies. He was in Stand By Me, which was and that actually had Corey Feldman in it as well. Stand By Me had Corey Feldman in it. But I don't think much. Yeah, this was one of his first bigger movies, Mike. So, and he still talks about it pretty fondly, even today. I mean, you know what I mean? I
saw an interview with Corey Feldman, and Corey Feldman was talking about him and Corey Haim kind of were the two heartthrobs at the time for that age group.
Yeah.
And he said he heard the director or somebody say, yeah, I got Corey. There's 2 Coreys on here. And he started thinking, like, who's the other Corey? And they both liked the same girl. And he said, I'm going to be an A to him. He said, I ain't going to like him. He said that Corey Haim called him up out of the blue about a month before shooting, said, hey, let's get together and hang out. They hung out, became best friends, and that's history.
Yeah, that's when they became the 2 Coreys. Like I said, I think this, like you said, I mean, Kiefer Sutherland speaks for himself. The guy's a great actor, and he was good in this, in my opinion. And you have like his whole crew of like dudes. You don't really get to know them that well, but they have cool looks to them for sure. And then there's this main girl who's like a girlfriend. Her name's Star. She did good. I think she actually became a really good actress too. She was in a lot of things, but she was good. And then you have like another character named Max, who's kind of mysterious. He's like a guy that's hitting on the mother. He owns the local VHS movie place. Yeah. And he makes a lot of money from it. Apparently the guy drives a Corvette and all this stuff. And he's kind of just hitting on the mom. They're new in the area. But yeah, and then you have 2 other characters, the Frog Brothers, who are really great in this movie. They're Edgar, that's played by Corey Feldman, and then Alan, who's his brother. And yeah, they're really cool. They have a really fun line in this. We'll talk about it later. Yeah, I thought the beginning of this movie is solid. They show you like attacks on people, but they don't show you what it is. And I like the way they show this, Mike.
I like that at the beginning. It made you use your imagination.
Right. They have like big screening shots. It looks like stuff's like flying over water.
Yeah, like drone stuff back before drones were real popular.
Right. It's probably it's most likely a helicopter.
Yeah, it was a helicopter. I'm sure.
And I mean, it's really cool because you don't know what's going on, but you just know people are getting abducted. And one of the things I like about this movie is it has like subtle things in it. Like at the beginning where the families come in to move to Santa Carla, that's the town. And it has a boardwalk with all this stuff. It's really cool happening in town, like for summer. And while they're showing all this fun stuff going on in this town, they splice in a ton of missing people posters, Mike. Don't
Murder
they?
Capital of the World on spray painted on the back of a billboard.
What does it say?
Murder Capital of the World.
Oh, yeah. So you know this place, man, it seems fun, it seems good, but there's something deeper here underneath that you don't, I mean, I think it sets that up good at the beginning, and this movie also has a really good soundtrack, man. They have some really killer songs. They have a band covering People Are Strange, like a Doors song at the beginning, and it's actually a pretty good cover, I think, and it goes good with this movie. I really like it. But yeah, I mean, anything you want to say, Mike, that you really like about this movie?
I thought I liked at the beginning how it kind of was preluding to the kills they finally start seeing at the end, where you used your imagination a little bit instead of just being all blood and guts and gore at the beginning. And I like the way they use the animals to kind of detect who was good and who was bad. I thought it was it's a fun movie. I mean, I'm 52 years old. My wife's around my age. For us to go back and watch something in the 80s, it was fun to watch that era.
Yeah.
And know that like both the Coreys were at the top of their game at the time.
Yeah.
You knew Kiefer Sutherland was going to be, after this, he blew up even more.
Yeah.
And the acting's solid. I thought all personally at first, I think I even told you this halfway through the movie. I called you, I reached out to you or something, but I didn't think it was a horror movie at the beginning. I was like, well, I ain't seen nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I like the comedy in it because it's considered a horror / comedy.
Yeah,
and the little one-liners are great.
Yeah. That's so when the Frog Brothers end up killing one of the vampires in the tub in holy water, which is really cool. They end up killing a guy, and then when Sam comes in and goes, "Oh, I killed one with an arrow," and they're like, "We took out the one that looked like Twisted Sister." I thought that was funny as hell. I thought that was funny, dude.
Yeah, and that killing of that particular vampire, man,
brutal.
All the blood and guts. I mean, the blood that was just pouring out, the toilet destroyed. I mean, it coming out the sinks and everything else. That was a cool kill. Epic. I like the kills of the vampires. I thought they were pretty good overall.
Yeah, let's go back to one of the parts that I thought like is truly like kind of not terrifying, but like whoa, like vampires aren't playing around. Is where they kill this group of at the end in the credits. You know what they call these guys, Mike? The guys that were dancing around this bonfire.
What?
Surf Nazis.
Oh,
so. I guess you can't feel too bad if they're not.
You can't feel bad for them, then.
No, but these guys brutally rip these guys apart. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland's character bites into the top of this guy's head and like rips a chunk out of his head. You can see it kind of. Kiefer Sutherland, actually, I watched an interview. He actually said that whole scene had a way more vicious edit, but they cut around it a lot. Like it's a lot more bloodier and violent. But they actually had to cut around a lot about it for the people that watch all that stuff, supervisors or whatever. So, and then they're just like, dragging them all around. And then when they're just bite them and kill them, then they're done with them. They throw them on this big bonfire, dude. And they're just really raged out vampire, blood dripping everywhere. I love that part, Mike. And then when Kiefer Sutherland comes up to Michael and he's like, now you know what you are, and now you know what we are, and now you know what you are. And it's like, whoa.
Kiefer Sutherland in this was a likable bad guy. He was a likable villain. What I mean was he was cool though. I mean, his
definitely
little like when the girl, was talking to Michael, and then he came up to him, he's like, "Star, come here." Yeah. And she went over and he kind of like, in a way, he didn't wink at him, but he's like, "I'm still the man," like I kind of liked Kiefer Sutherland as the vampire. I was like, he was a cool dude.
I like how that part you're talking about, like they're just riding on the beach with their motorcycles, and it's cool, man.
Yeah, and then you knew it was kind of reminded me a little bit of the Karate Kid, like you're riding on the motorcycle, and then you knew something was going to happen here, and then he stopped right at the edge, and the other guy had to lay his bike down. But
why did Michael drink that stuff? He did. I mean, it's like he thought it was wine, but he ended up drinking the stuff, and it was blood, and that's what made him turn into a vampire. You have to drink the lead vampire's blood, and that turns you into a vampire. And that led to a lot of different things. Oh, I liked Sam's dog, Nanook. That dog was a well-acted, trained dog. I mean, I liked it in the movie. It did attack Michael, which I thought was a really cool scene where, like, Sam's really vulnerable in a tub, and, like, Michael breaks the door down, and he's, like, vamping out, gonna kill Sam, basically, because he's overtaken by this. And Nanook just freaking jumps on him hardcore, and it looks sweet. And then you hear him just tumble down the stairs. Like, you don't see it, but you hear it.
We are giving a ton of likes of this movie.
Oh.
Got to give a couple dislikes. Do you have any dislikes at all?
I didn't like that I mean, I thought it was okay, but they had like a little kid vampire in this. Like, why was he turned? What was the purpose of it? I didn't understand that. Do
you notice he was also on the back of the missing milk carton?
Yeah, I do like that, but I didn't understand why they had a little kid vampire. Like, why would they turn him? What was the purpose of it? I don't know, but
I think what this was trying to do, I think behind the scenes, and when I saw an interview with Corey Feldman, he said this. He said the basis of this movie is family. And if you think about it, a lot of it is the vampires were a family. You had the head one trying to keep his boys, and he even says it in the movie. And then you had the mother and her two boys, and the grandpa there. But it was all of them were trying to keep their families together, and the vampires were trying to make one big family. And I think in that one big family, you would have had Star, a young teenage girl, with a child that could be a young child in this, because you stay that same age forever, is what it said.
Right. Yeah.
So I think they were trying to get the core of this movie is still family and family bonds. And no matter how much Michael and his brother, I can't remember his name, it's Corey Haim, as much as he was wanting to kill him, they stuck together even after everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is. I mean, let's just put it out there. Max ends up being the lead vampire at the end. Right. You figure that out. And
he's the one dating the mother, or trying to date her.
Yep. He wants to bring her in and the boys in to his family. I love the grandpa in this. He is funnier than hell. He is really funny. He just does a lot of things, and he trolls the kids. Like, he was like, Sam, you want to drive to town in he has like a really nice convertible, like an old convertible. They're like, yeah. And he's like, start it up. And so he starts it up or whatever. And they're like, let's go to town. And they're like, okay. He doesn't drive it. He's in the passenger seat, Sam. And then he's like, okay. And he turns off the car and he goes, I thought we were going to town. He goes, that's as close to town as I like to get. Now, you kind of get the hint, like after the end of the movie, after the grandpa. Like, the only thing I don't like about Santa Carlisle is all the damn vampires. So the grandpa already knows that there's vampires here. So, like, you got to wonder, has he tangled with vampires before? Because he took out Max, no issue. I mean, he smoked him.
That's to me the only dislike about the movie, and that's just me personally, is they had this huge buildup with Max going to fight Michael, and
well, he kicked his ass, dude. He's way more powerful than Michael.
But it was just a couple of throws, and then all of a sudden, the grandpa drives in and hits him and knocks him into it was just like all of a sudden, it wasn't this like,
sure.
It was just sudden. It was like a build up, and then it was like a quick death. It wasn't like this huge fight scene going back and forth any, but that's the only thing that bothered me. When I asked my wife about it, she said, yeah, it was kind of a letdown, but for the grandpa to be the hero. And then also another line he had that was hilarious was in the key part of the movie when Michael's carrying the girl up to the bedroom, he stops him and goes, hey, what do you, and then don't you know our rules? And I thought he was going to say like, no women in the house, no girls upstairs. He goes, you're supposed to fill up the car or something in gas every time you use it. It's like, where'd that come from?
Yeah. I like that. I also saw a lot of like 80s things in this, which I liked. Like, I remember my cousin had one of these on his wall, in Sam's room, he has like one of those giant watches on the wall that is like a clock, you know. And I think my cousin had one of those like growing up. So like I was like, whoa, that's cool, and just some other things, you know. But yeah, I really like this movie. The ending doesn't bother me at all. I understand that they had to try to take Max out quick because obviously he was way more powerful than any of them because he created Michael. So Michael didn't stand a chance versus him like David. I mean, David and him were probably on more equal ground because David was created by Max, just like Michael was. Right. So, yeah, and I love the Vampire's Cave. It's like a sunken hotel.
Yeah, it's cool, and the story behind it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I love the part where the Frog Brothers and Sam go in to stake the vampires, and it's like one big coffin in there. And I love it when the Frog Brothers go to stake the vampire. They just say something, and he stakes him, and man, he just starts gushing all this liquid and stuff. And then like David chases after him, and he grabs him. And then he gets pulled into the light and his hand burns. And it's a really cool part in this movie. Like, he's just like looking at his hand and one tear comes down his face. And it was really cool. And that was on accident because of the contact was bothering his eye. And it like made him tear. And Joel Schumacher said, no, we're leaving it in. It's perfect.
Oh, so that wasn't actually supposed to happen.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about this movie. I've gushed about it, Mike. Let's go on to the rating here, Mike.
All right, so I'm gonna let you give yours first, Josh, since I've gave the first ones the last couple of times. What's your rating?
4.5 for me, Mike.
Whoa, that's awful high, Josh.
4.5 boardwalks.
Boardwalks, okay. Well, I thought it was a great movie. For a horror movie, it wasn't quite horrifying enough for me, but still, I will give it a 4 out of 5, which is still a high score in my book. Definitely worth watching. 1987, 36 years ago.
Yeah.
If you just want to have fun watching a movie that's got some, cool vampires in it and some great young actors that become big time actors, you need to see this.
Yeah, and like one of the best things I like too is the prep, like when Sam and the Frog Brothers and all the rest are like prepping for the final battle with the vampires. That is cool, man. I love it. So
go into the church and get the holy water right in the middle of a service. Somebody getting married.
I love it.
All right, so please like, comment, subscribe. Have you seen The Lost Boys? Have they ever redone this movie, Josh?
Not to my knowledge, but they have done 2 sequels. Yeah, and I think Corey Feldman is in both of them.
Okay. So tell us what y'all think. Did you like it? Did you not? Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Please join our Real Dead horror community that's been playing down below. And hey, it doesn't cost you nothing. Sub to our channel. Collections, horror collections, NECA figures, Funko Pops, signed signatures, all that. Anything to do with horror, that's what this channel is about.
Yes, no doubt, Mike.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Good seeing you, man.
Okay, see ya. See you guys.
Right.
Bye.